What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne, and this is Blackboard Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there, waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complication.
Hey, everybody. So, today I want to address a serious matter. With so many different board games coming out every year, and then so many board games that have been out that I want to play, it is very challenging to give a board game multiple plays in order to give it its proper due. Now, I do get it done, but it is challenging. And sometimes there are board games that just don't get played for one reason or another. So today I feel the need to tell some board games that I'm sorry. And these apologies come from, different reasons or whatever. And I know you're probably wondering, how do you tell a board game that you're sorry? Well, you just do, and you hope that those board games will forgive you someday. So some of these board games I own, some of these board games I don't own. So first, I want to address the board games that I don't own. So without wasting any time, let's get on with these apologies. So the first game that I want to tell that I'm sorry is a game that I was introduced early on when I met the guys in my Friday night board game group. We've been playing board games together for going over 6 years. And I remember when I first met them, they were playing board games at a local board game spot, and I would come up there that I frequented this board game store, and sometimes I would just go over and watch. I was interested in the game they were playing, so I would just sit and watch. And eventually they invited me in. And so, like I said, now we've been playing board games for 6 years. So this particular board game, the first couple of times I played it, I felt lukewarm on it, and I didn't get what all the hype was about this game, because this game is held to a high esteem in the board game community. And I've always seen it on people's top 10 board games of all time. And like I said, the first couple of times I played it, I didn't really get it. But I ended up playing it a couple more times. I think I played it at least 4 or 5 times now. And on my last couple of times, I started understanding why people hold this board game to a high esteem. And so in this board game, you're rolling your dice, and based on the pip value on that dice, you are drafting settlement tiles, from the main game board, and you're placing it on your game board. And then you could also use the pip value on other dice to place that settlement tile into your kingdom. So of course, the game that I'm talking about is the Castles of Burgundy. Now, like I said, this game, after my last play, I started getting it, the way you get to mitigate the die with those workers, the different ways you score points and everything. I mean, the last time I played, I watched one of the other players. They went to the livestock strategy, and I could have stopped them, but I wanted to see it play out, because now I'm starting to understand the strategy in this game. And he ended up winning that game, and I was like, oh, okay, I see the different things you can do in this game. And so I feel that the Castles of Burgundy, I owe that board game an apology. I'm sorry for doubting you. I'm sorry for doubting how amazing a game that you are. Will you forgive me? The next game is another game that I was introduced early on when I started playing with my Friday night board game group. And I played this game probably like 3 or 4 times, and I have not done well in this game. And you would think that I like this game because I like the theme. It has two of my favorite mechanics, worker placement and tile placement. But it is a big game. And like I said, I played it like 3 or 4 times, and the best score that I've gotten is 0. Now you wonder how would I get 0? Well, because your player board has spaces that have negative points. So you're trying to cover up those negative points, and you have workers and you're sending them out onto the central board to take these actions. The thing is, this thing has 61 different actions you can take. And depending on the action, which I think is very thematic, is how many workers you send out to that space. Like if you going to hunt for a rabbit or something, you could send one worker. But then if you're going whaling, you send multiple workers because, of course, thematically, you need more people to go after a whale. And I love the theme. It's a Viking themed game. If you haven't already figured it out, this game is called A Feast for Odin. Now, this is a game that I feel that you need to play it multiple times in order to start locking in and understanding the different strategies and the different paths. But like I said, there's so much stuff in this game. And with so many games coming out and so many other games to play, and maybe if I was 20 years younger, maybe I would have more time to play A Feast for Odin and give it its proper due, And this is another game that I see on a lot of people's top 10 board games of all time. So, A Feast for Odin, I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. It's not you, because I recognize the great game that you are. It's me, because I haven't done well in this game. And I don't know, like if somebody said, let's play it, yeah, I wouldn't turn it down. But yeah, it's not a game that I'm actively looking to play, and keep losing. So, the next game, first of all, A Feast for Odin, Will You Forgive Me? The next game is a big old game. Now, I have another group of guys that I play games with, and we started playing this game as a big campaign game. We started playing this game in 2019, and I was excited, because I've been hearing so much about this game. This game was rated very high. Like at the time, it was #1 on Board Game Geek, and I was excited to play it. The character I picked, I really vibed with it, and I was just looking forward to playing it. And we had got through 3 scenarios, and then the pandemic hit, and so we had to stop playing it. Now, since then, it's been a challenge to get that group of guys back together. Everybody has moved on with their lives and all that. And at this time, there are so many other games of its ilk that have come out, And so the game I'm talking about is Gloomhaven. Now, I've seen where people have soloed this game, and I applaud you. I'm not going to be able to solo this game. It's going to take a lot. Like, there's over 100 hours of content in this game. And at the time, I was really looking forward to playing Gloomhaven. And if I had more time, maybe it would be something I would revisit. Maybe I'll try out Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. But this is another, a game where I feel that I need to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Gloomhaven. I just don't know if I could find the time, because it's something I have to commit to. This ain't one of those games you one and done. You want to play the whole campaign, and you want to see your character ramp up. It's pretty much a dungeon crawl, but there's no dice. You're playing with cards, And so, Gloomhaven, I'm sorry. Will you accept my apology? Now, this game that I'm to talk about now, I wasn't even actually planning on talking about this game, and it just popped in my head because early on today, I was watching a YouTube video where people were talking about their top 10 games of 2024. and they mentioned this game. Now, this game is part of a series. Now, we have the first game in the series, and I just picked up the third game in the series. But the second game in the series, I did not gravitate to. I did not actively seek it out to play. And I love the publisher. I love the games that comes out from this specific publisher. But when all is said and done, dragons aren't real.
I am a real dragon.
So the game I'm talking about is Wyrmspan. Now, Wyrmspan is one of the games I introduced to my wife, and she really loved it. But what I really loved about Wyrmspan is the fact that, you learn about these different birds. I actively watch a lot of nature shows. Right now, I'm watching this one called The Americas, which is narrated by Tom Hanks, and I think it's really, really good. So that was the thing that I loved about Wyrmspan. And so now, like I said, we just recently picked up Finspan, which is different, lighter version, but you're diving into the ocean, but there's these different fish. So now you're learning about fish, and I'm looking forward to that aspect of the game. Wyrmspan, from what people say, is just a more gamer version of Wyrmspan, but the thing is, I don't gravitate to it because it's about dragons, and that's part of the enjoyment that I had from Wyrmspan and Finspan. And like I said, with so many board games to play, if somebody asked me, if somebody had it on the table and it was a board game night, I'll play it, but it's not something that I'm actively looking to play. And so Wyrmspan, I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. This is another way of saying it's not you, it's me. So now the next two games are games that I actually own, and I just realized that I have not gone to get those games. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the next two games are games that we have in the collection. They were sent to us for review, as review copies. And the first game is the standalone sequel to a game that is rated very highly to me. And if a person had never had any experience to either of these games, then I would recommend the sequel, because the sequel, while the base game, like I said, is rated highly to me, it did have its issues, which the sequel fixes. So in the base game, like, one of the things that you're doing is you're trying to find critters that will go to these specific constructions. And if you find those critters, you could play those critters for free as opposed to spending berries. Also, there are special events that you need 2 specific critters for. And it was hard to find those critters in the deck, So in the sequel, they fixed that problem. They made it where, you can, there's a number of critters that match a certain icon on that construction that you can play for free. And then they took away the special events and they just made like regular events, and multiple people can score those events. So, of course, the game that I'm talking about is Everdell Farshore. And like I said, I played this, and it is a beautiful game. And it fixes some of the issues that people had with Everdell. Now, these are issues that I didn't have because I just enjoyed that challenge. It allowed me to pivot. So why do I feel that I need to apologize to Everdell Farshore if I'm saying that it is a better game than Everdell? Because Everdell it's nostalgia there. It is the game that got me into heavier games. It's the game that got my wife playing heavier games, starting understanding different mechanics and everything, and just the art. Like I said, it's just like going to visit an old family when I get that game on the table. And it has squishy berries. I love the squishy berries are like my favorite board game component of all time. So while, like I said, Everdell Farshore, I would say, hey, if you haven't played Everdell at all, definitely check out Everdell Farshore. But there's loyalty for me. So Everdell Farshore, I'm sorry. You just don't replace Everdell. You're a great game, but you can't replace Everdell for me. And so I hope you forgive me, you know. The last game on this list. So there's some story behind this specific game. I got this game as a review copy at PAX Unplugged in 2024. And I couldn't take it on the plane with me, so I shipped it. You know, I shipped it with 3 other games. And of course, I got porch pirated. You know, that package got stolen from me. And of course, I was upset to say the least. You know, because I was looking forward to playing all those games. Now, I mentioned that the package got stolen from me in my PAX Unplugged video, but I didn't tell anybody what the name of those games were because I didn't want to come off as say, hey, this game got stolen, can you send me another? You know, I just was like, I'm just going to grab these games on my own and still talk about them. But my friend Jazz from the Lobby of Hobbies, you know, he was at PAX and we played some great games and everything. I told him about it and I told him what games were gone. And he reached out to someone at the publisher, and they were so gracious to email me and say, hey, we heard what happened. We'll send you another copy of the game. So thank you to Jazz. You didn't have to do that. And thank you to the people at CGE. And now the game that I'm talking about, why I need to apologize to this game, because when we did our top 2024 games, you know, top 10 2024 games, I mentioned this game as an honorable mention. And it's because I had only played the game once, and it was pretty much a two-handed teach. Since then, I have played it solo, I have played it 3-player, and I have played it 4-player. And the game that I'm talking about is SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Now, this game, like, I have struggled, other than the length of time, you know, because it is a long time on the table. But I struggle to find anything wrong with this game. You know, pretty much you are searching for extraterrestrial life, as it says in the name. And there's card play. There's so many cards. You're playing cards. You're sending out probes out into the solar system. You're turning those probes into satellites that orbit the different planets, or you can send it to land on the planet. And you're scanning the stars. And you're discovering traces of life. You know, traces of alien life. And there's, like I said, 3 different yellow, blue, and red. And you find those traces in different ways. And once you discover each of those traces, then you get to flip over one of the alien tiles. And there are like 5 aliens that come in the game. So there's that reveal. And like I said, I struggle to find anything wrong with this game. So why do I need to owe an apology? Well, it's obvious. I put it as an honorable mention in my top 10 games of 2024. It deserves to be in my top 3. You know, I'm still like seeing where its place is, but it cannot be an honorable mention. This game is just perfect for me, and I love it. I'm looking forward to playing it again. I mean, it's just a beautiful game. It's not that hard to set up on the table, other than, you know, you got to shuffle that big deck of cards, and you got to place the tech tiles that you add in your game board. You got to place those out. But this game is so many ways to score points. And SETI, I am really enjoying my plays of this game. So for putting you as an honorable mention, I'm sorry. Will you ever forgive me? So I'm going to leave it at that. Those are 6 games? Like I said, one added last minute. And I think the takeaway from this, if you have any takeaway from this, is there's so many great board games out there. So many games that people love. Some people they don't feel the same way about their game. Everybody has their different tastes, and that's okay, because one man's trash is another man's treasure, or vice versa. And I think that everybody can like games for different reasons. Everybody can enjoy games for different reasons. We just gotta, be able to respect that, because I see when people do these top tens and say, hey, what about this? Well, what about it? That's their list, So we have to respect that. And in the comments below, oh man, I forgot what question I wanted to ask in the comments below. Maybe you have a game that you might need to apologize to because you haven't given it enough plays, or it's a game that you really love that you just have not find the time to get it to the table. Maybe it's too much setup, or just finding the people to play with, or whatever. And I really hope you like the contents of this video. If you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And I'm Dwayne. This has been Blackboard Gaming, and I will see you next time.